What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Esbros Plays. Whoa. No, we're not playing anything today, right? This is actually a new type of video that we're going to be doing for you guys called Esbros Reviews.
That's right. We're going to be reviewing movies that just came out, and probably some old ones too, right?
Probably some old ones in there too.
Today is going to be Victor's, one of his new favorite movies. Victor, what movie are we doing?
Avatar 2, Way of Water.
So, background on the movie. This is the sequel to the 2009 blockbuster hit Avatar by James Cameron. I don't know any of the actors.
Zoe Saldana or Zoe, I forget her name, but she also plays Gamora in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, that's her?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's the same girl. She plays two aliens, and she does them very well. Yeah. We must preference this by saying that there is going to be spoilers in this video. So if you have not seen Avatar Way of Water yet, you should probably stop watching this video.
That's
right?
There's
definitely going to be spoilers. You've been warned. So I have to say I have a ton of nostalgia for Avatar 1. It came out when I was 11 years old. And it was really the first movie that I was just blown away with. And it was really one of those first movies that was like in 3D, but cool 3D. And I've probably seen the movie, I'm not even exaggerating, maybe 50 times in my life.
The first one?
Yes. I've seen the first one a ton of times. I absolutely love the first one. So I might have some bias in this review for Avatar 2. There might be some. Right. So I guess I should start off by saying the 3-hour, 12-minute runtime was something that I was a little worried about when I first saw that it was going to be that long, right?
Yeah.
Because I thought, and I had heard things that James Cameron had the cuts that were like way longer than this. Yes.
Oh, wow.
But he decided to cut it down to a short 3 hours and 12 minutes. But you know what? I've seen this movie 4 times in theaters now. Now that I've seen it a few times, I can say that I can't really think of anywhere where they could pace the movie better. Like, I can't think of scenes that they could cut. Now that I've seen it a few times, after the first run time, I was like, maybe they could have cut some things here and there. But now that I go back and I've rewatched it a few times, I can't think of any just dead space. And I know James Cameron is big on showing you how beautiful the world that he created was. And some people have arguments against that. Like, you don't have to show all those fish for that long. And so he's argued about that too, because he was saying, yeah, it might not have to do that much with the plot of the story, but you still want to see it. And now, every time that I've gone to see it, I'm probably going to see it again. I know I look forward to seeing the beautiful world that he was able to conjure up for this movie. So I got to say, the 3-hour, 12 minutes runtime, it really doesn't feel that way. It's pretty. There's a lot of action mixed in, and I feel like it flows pretty well, where it doesn't feel like it's dragging or something like that, like some movies do. I thought that the emotional depth of this movie was a lot greater than the first one, because it's a family. So Jake Sully and Neytiri, they have 4 kids now, right? Because the first Avatar was Jake Sully's of adventure and how he's, going about things. And now this movie it almost hands the baton over to the kids, where this almost felt like more of the kids' movie than it was Jake Sully and Neytiri's. And so I kind of liked that. I thought that the characters of the kids, they really make you care about the kids. It's not like you see them in a few scenes and it's like, okay, well, I don't give a crap about those kids, so why am I going to care if they get hurt or not? I cried. Even the first through the third time that I saw it, I cried. I really enjoyed parts where it was showing 2 sons, and it's Noak and Netayam, if I'm saying that correctly. And they're just being teenage boys, you know what I mean? They're doing mischievous things, and you have the little brother that's convincing the big brother to do some mischievous stuff, going against the dad's will. And I feel like it was just really relatable, I guess, as a boy. Even though you're seeing a bunch of tall blue people, it feels like they're, people. Like, you can relate to their experiences and things like that. It's not like there's some gray aliens or something that are... And even, I loved the scenes where Noak, the younger son, is kind of falling for the water chief's daughter.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're showing scenes where she's like, your heart is beating fast. And she's,
and he's like,
and it was just like, as a boy, you could just totally relate to the experiences that he was having. And so that just made the experience more enjoyable. In terms of the conflict, a year goes by, the humans obviously come back to Pandora, and they're trying to get their revenge. They're still trying to set up camp there in Pandora, and so that's where the conflict arises. They're going after Jake Sully, and a year passes before he says, we have to leave. And I thought that decision was a little weird for Jake Sully's character. And I kind of understood the point of, I have to protect my family and they're coming after my family, so if we leave then it'll protect the people type of thing. And it just didn't seem like a Jake Sully type of move, especially from the first movie. It was very, he's gonna stand up to this, he's gonna fight for his family, he's gonna fight, well, at the time it wasn't his family, but for the the Na'vi people, he was gonna fight for them, right? And so his decision to leave, I thought, was a little strange, but I could see the dad aspect of him deciding to leave.
Yeah, because he's a father. And
he's a father now.
He's got priorities.
He's got priorities now. He has his family, and that's what comes before everything, right? But it did seem a little bit like an excuse to, hey, let's go to the water. But I guess I understand that that's a move that has to happen for the movie to happen. This was the best special effects I've ever seen in my life. When I saw Neytiri pop up for the first time, I was like, holy shit, I am actually seeing Neytiri. She is real. When I see the Avengers, yeah, it looks great, but I know that Thanos is CGI. I can see it. You know what I mean? He doesn't look like he's actually 100% there. Yeah. Like, it looked like there was just a camera on this actual Na'vi person. You know what I mean? It looked crazy real, and I can't think of a movie that has better, more realistic special effects to this scope than this movie. In terms of the action and the plot of Quaritch coming back, I was kind of looking forward to seeing some kind of new antagonist for this movie, but I get why they brought him back for this movie. There has to be some kind of vengeance story there, right? Between Jake Sully and someone else. It can't just be, they just conjure this plot out of nowhere. So I thought that the decision to bring Quaritch back, I was a little disappointed the first time I saw it, but I really warmed up to it, and I thought that they executed it pretty well. And so I'm excited to see what they do with future movies when the Na'vi are actually going to be villains, is what James Cameron said.
Oh, really? That's what it's going to be?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
And so him and Spider's relationship, he has a son named Spider, and he's this human that had to stay on Pandora. And so it's really humanizing for Quaritch to see this kind of father-son bond and relationship being formed between him and Spider. And it really humanized him, other than just being this buff brute guy who's just trying to kill Jake Sully. You know what I mean? I feel like it fleshed him out a lot more. And so I liked that. I know a lot of people didn't like Spider in the movie, the human.
They didn't like him?
No, a lot of the people that I've talked to have not liked Spider. They didn't like the actor. They didn't like, I don't know what they didn't like about it, but they just didn't like it. And I thought it was a really cool part of the story. I liked Spider being there and how he fleshed out Quaritch. The third act was freaking insane. Where they have their kids. Quaritch has Jake Sully's kids, and there's, they're on the big boat and they have to fight each other. And it was just like maybe 50 minutes of I'm just glued to the screen. I didn't know what direction he was gonna go, if he was gonna kill off any characters. I didn't know, so I was on the edge of my seat the first time watching it. And after watching it sequential times, it was still freaking amazing to see that third act. I will say that I thought it got a little redundant of Quaritch having the kids. It seemed like every other scene, it was like they're tied up and Jake Sully has to go get them type of thing. The scene where they are hunting the Payakan, or the Tuhun. Tuhun, is that what they're called? The whales, basically. The Na'vi whales. It seemed a little bit like pandering to me. Like James Cameron was really shoving environmental concerns down our throats. There's a scene, and it's maybe like a 10-15 minute, it's like a 10-minute scene where they're hunting the whale, right? And it's very sad, and you get emotionally involved, and you see the whale when it dies, and it's there with its calf. Yeah. It just seemed a little bit like pandering, where he showed like, hey, save the whales and that kind of thing. I get that James Cameron is super into conservation for the environment, but it just seemed a little bit much. The one thing that I see that a lot of people complain about is that the water people kind of disappeared during the fighting. When they really start going at it with Quaritch and their crew, and Jake Sully, Neytiri and their crew, and they have all of the water people there pretty much, that they're going to action with these people. And then after a little while, it was kind of like, hey, where are the water people? They could probably be doing some damage right now, It's really the only complaint that I could think of when that third act scene. Even though every movie is going to have a scene where it's like, okay, really? How'd that happen? Like in the Avengers, it's like, oh, really? When Iron Man nukes this mothership, all of them just die like Phantom Menace style, you know?
Yeah.
But I freaking loved this movie, and I would probably go see it another few times in theaters, to be honest.
All right, so I don't nearly have as much to say about that movie as Victor does. I did think it was a copy and paste of the plot, though, of the first one. It was very like, hey, there's blue people. Humans came, attacked the blue people. I actually thought this was gonna be a non-human involving movie. Maybe that's why I think it's so like similar to the first one. Either way, I still liked it. The visuals were incredible. Like Victor said, they were stunning. The blue of the water was so crazy. Because I honestly personally think it's hard to animate water and hair, for the matter of fact, because their hair looks so good. Fun fact, actually, my girlfriend has like really curly hair. I've been trying to convince her for years to get braids. She saw this movie and she's like, I want braids now. I'm like, oh my. I actually have to disagree with you on the pandering. I didn't see it as pandering with the whale thing. That's the thing that hooked me onto the movie. Because for the first like bit of it, I was just like, okay, yeah. And that's when it felt like the story went into action. That was the first really emotional part for me. Just seeing how they like brutally slaughtered that whale just for that shit that's in its head. Yeah. I was like, wow. And I thought they were just gonna let the calf live. It's gonna just, swim
the calf died because the mom died.
Yeah, I didn't know that was gonna happen. Yeah. So I was even more sad. Also, one of my favorite characters was actually, speaking of whales, was the banished one. Yeah, him. He was an interesting character. The part where he like flashes back when they're going to war with the human, and then he sees his mom die. Yeah. Oh, dude, that was emotional too, bro. Oh, one of my favorite scenes when Nowak is trapped on the boat when he's tied up, and then Kayatan sees that. And he goes under and he's like frustrated. I don't know. Was that frustration in him?
I think it was like he's hyping himself up. I'm about to fuck these guys up.
It felt like it was the Super Bowl, Patriots versus New York Giants again. I think it was just a great movie. Like I said, I didn't have nearly as much to say as Victor did. I
have a rebuttal to what you were saying about the copy paste. So I've heard that a lot, right? Where people are saying, oh man, it's the same thing. It's the humans against the Na'vi and they destroy the... And so I get that part of it. But when you think about it, any sequel is gonna pretty much do that same thing. So like even think about Star Wars movies. It's like you introduce Luke, you introduce Darth Vader and the Empire and things like that. And then things lead up to where they finally fight and then they capture his friends and he has to go save them and things like that. That's happened in pretty much every single Star Wars movie.
Don't you think it could be a different capturer though? Like what I said, like I wish it was someone like maybe like from the planet or like another alien instead of like the humans. Like what you said about Courage. Okay. Yeah. Like what? He had a copy of himself as a Na'vi back home? Yeah. That's a stretch for me. You said they're gonna be the bad guys in the next one?
The Na'vi people are going to be, there's gonna be Na'vi antagonists in this next one. And you know what? Okay. I could honestly see them doing something where Courage becomes a good guy. I could see them doing something like that. I thought the same thing. And I would like to see that, honestly.
Same, me too. That would be the perfect. That'd be the cherry on top for me right there. And then Spider. You think they're gonna show them as adults next?
They already finished filming all of the third one, so I don't know.
Yeah. When's that one coming out? I heard that one's coming out like within a year.
I don't know if within a year, but I think within at least a few years it should be out. We're not gonna wait 13 years again for the next one, basically. Okay. So that is pretty much our thoughts on Avatar 2: Way of Water. We are not movie critics, just to say that, we just like seeing movies.
All right, so Victor, what do you give this movie? What's your Esbros rating on this?
My Esbros rating of this, because we're not going to rate them 1 to 10 or anything like that, or F through A, I will give this 9 out of 10.
I give mine 8.5 dead suns.
8.5 dead suns.
And the half is going to be the lower half.
Just the legs,
because that's the strongest part of the body. Right?
Okay. So that would equal to 8.75, right? 9 from me, 8.5 from you.
Yeah, that's actually that's right.
All right.
It's a really good movie, guys. I highly recommend it in theaters right now. Don't know till when. Probably for a while, right? Because it's been selling a lot.
Go see it in theaters too. Don't wait for it to come on like HBO or something. Go to watch it. That's a movie that you got to see in a theater.
If you have glasses, don't watch it in 3D. Watch it in regular vision. Don't hurt yourself. Thank you for joining us on this first episode of Esbros Reviews, guys. We're going to be doing one of these hopefully maybe like twice a month if we have the time, just because we have other content that we're going to film. Leave us a comment on a movie you guys want us to watch. And that's been me and
Vic.
You guys have a good one.
See you on the next one.